and that is Carson Wentz. Right after his surgery that he just had, a recent photo of him and Frank Reich. Here's everything you need to know about Carson Wentz. The latest news reported by Chris Mortensen today. You see this tweet where he's saying Carson Wentz trending to open the season as the starter, and also guard Quentin Nelson on the same path. So things looking a little bit more optimistic than we had originally thought. Mort is here with Adam Schefter, and that's where we begin. Mort, what more can you tell us about the Colts quarterback?
Yeah, I can tell you from talking to, I think, almost every available resource that Carson Wentz, yesterday he was at practice, as was Quentin Nelson. No foot device, no boot, was barely limping, and that matched up with what I had heard over the weekend, which is that he was really trending quite well, and the next 2 weeks will be telling, but based off the surgery and what they found in the surgery and the procedure, they believed he would be trending toward starting week 1. Now, Frank Reich, the coach, he talked to Colleen Wolfe of NFL Network afterwards, and he said both guys are doing exceedingly well, as well basically as he could expect, and maybe plus. And he said, I don't know if it's week 1 or week 2, but I can tell you that there's more optimism internally that it has a chance of being week 1. And they're almost an expectation, but they just fall short of saying that. It's rest period right now. The next 2 weeks after this week will be more telling, and then certainly we will find out whether it's Wentz or whether it's one of the two young guys that they're playing right now, Jacob Eason or Sam Erlinger.
And more, I think that is going to be the key timeline here coming up next week and the week after. They'll get a real good read on whether Carson Wentz will be ready for the regular season opener against Seattle. Until then, they will continue to evaluate the two young quarterbacks, Jacob Eason, Sam Ehlinger, and Jacob Eason's going to start the first preseason game, but they're going to get a long look at Sam Ehlinger, who's been impressive in practice so far. Ehlinger brings some traits like leadership, like lack of turnovers that have stood out to the Colts during training camp as a rookie 6th-round draft pick out of Texas. He's got the intangibles. Now they want to see it in a game. And Jacob Eason, his performance was elevated in practice once he saw that Sam Ehlinger was taking some reps with the starting offense. So they will battle in the event that Carson isn't ready. And if he is ready, they will continue battling for what will be the Colts' backup quarterback job.
Yeah, the interesting thing about both Eason and Ehlinger in college, ton of potential even coming out of high school. Their careers had some highs, some lows. They have a huge opportunity here potentially, no matter what happens with Carson Wentz. Thanks to Mort for all the latest there. Adam with us for the hour, as well as Booger McFarland and Tim Hasselbeck. Let's dive right into it here. Tim, let's say that Wentz is cleared by doctors to play week 1. Is it the right move to put him out there?
It is the right move to put him out there. Look, if he's healthy enough to play, they should play him. That's why they signed him. I don't know that you can, kind of put him in bubble wrap because you feel like there's an injury history there. If he's cleared by the doctors to go, then he should be the starting quarterback, even if that means he just has a couple of practices before the season opener. So Carson Wentz, in my estimation, would still be a better option to win week 1 than the younger guys that they seem to be excited about at this point.
Yeah, and I think as we open this up, Tim, and look at the bigger picture here, you're right. And Laura said it best. If the doctors clear him and he's healthy, you put him out there on the field. But I think we also have to look at Coach Reich and Chris Ballard being given extensions. So they're going to be there a while. Remember, we thought that Frank Reich was hitching his wagon to Carson Wentz. So at some point, if Carson Wentz didn't succeed, then Frank Reich might be out of there. But they got those extensions. So what that tells me is really simple. They want to see what Carson Wentz can do and put him on the field. Because if he's healthy, they can play him. If not, those extensions for Reich and Ballard are going to allow them both. If Wentz doesn't do the job, they got time to go get another quarterback. So I think it behooves them to put him on the field when he's healthy to see if this guy can be the franchise quarterback, to see if Frank Reich can fix Carson Wentz, because those extensions they just signed allow them to move on from Carson Wentz next year or the year after if he doesn't pan out. So I think that's something we need to keep an eye on.
Well, a couple of things about those extensions. Chris Ballard's extension was done weeks ago. It's been sitting in the drawer. They've been waiting to do Frank Reich's extension, which they recently got done. Thus, they could announce it the way they did today. And I think when we continue to try to figure out a timeline for Carson Wentz, I think here is the key point. when he initially underwent foot surgery last Monday, the timeline that they gave at that time was 5 to 12 weeks. Now, whether or not he makes it back for week 1 is secondary to the point that they are encouraged with where he's at right now, and it certainly looks like that timeline is going to be a lot closer to the 5-week timeline than the 12-week timeline, and that is an encouraging development for the Indianapolis Colts.
It's such a wide range there. A 7-week difference between those 2 points in the timeline makes you wonder, but you're right, encouraging results there. Boog, yes or no, is this Colts team with who they've got involved right now, are they a Super Bowl team in 5 years, in the next 5 years, sometime in that time frame?
Absolutely, I think they are. Hey, listen, I believe in the head coach, Frank Reich. I truly believe in the general manager, Chris Ballard. 2 great men. I think if you look at their recent success, the team that they put together, they have a culture in Indianapolis. I was very fortunate enough 2 years ago, I went up there and spoke to their entire defense because I know the defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus. And the culture that they have in that building goes back to when I played there, when Tony Dungy was there. Those guys work hard. Those guys do the right thing. Those guys are smart, dependable football players. And Frank Reich believes in Carson Wentz. So if he believes in Carson Wentz, so do I, because I know what type of man, I know what type of coach that Frank Reich is. So, Laura, their success has been paramount so far. I think it will continue over the next couple years. And if they can get the quarterback to stay healthy and they can get some health and some luck on their side, I believe they're going to go all the way at some point over the next 5 years.
The reality is they are surrounded by a very young and talented roster. So the pieces in place, if to Boog's point, they got the quarterback in place.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.